Tying the knot with Ella marked Jack's third venture into matrimony. His initial marriage was more of a light-hearted pact with his first wife. They were both just 18, fresh out of high school, and whimsically decided to make their bond official during their summer break, right before starting college. The young couple never cohabitated, and when the young woman found her true love at university, their brief marital stint was dissolved. By the age of 22, Jack faced another life-altering moment when his girlfriend disclosed her pregnancy. Jack stood by her, embracing fatherhood and domestic life wholeheartedly for 15 years. However, he eventually departed from this union upon realizing he had devoted years to a partner he no longer cherished. His son, Owen, remained with his mother, yet maintained an enviable bond with Jack, sharing a friendship that many might covet. Jack encountered Ella 2 years after his second divorce. At that moment, he wasn't looking for anything deep, perhaps just a fleeting connection. However, as he got to know Ella, he unexpectedly found himself enamored with her youth, kindness, intelligence, and sensitivity. She was a blend of so many admirable traits that, even a year into their marriage, Jack continued to find himself marveling at her complexity. He wasted no time in introducing his son to his future wife. Owen, being a true friend, refrained from sharing any negative thoughts about Ella with his father. But deep down, he couldn't help but find her unpleasant. On their wedding day, of all the cheerful voices, it was the young man who shouted cheers the loudest, filled with happiness for the newlyweds. At the age of 18, Owen decided to move in with his father and stepmother, as it was more convenient for him to commute to university from their place. Jack was overjoyed that his son would now reside with him. Secretly longing for this situation, but never pushing for it, every now and then, Owen would browse adult websites. In the beginning, he would only watch some videos and look at pictures. But then he stumbled upon a suggestion for a site where he could observe real women live. The idea intrigued him. Owen found this pastime so enjoyable that he started visiting the site more frequently, spending increasing amounts of money there. Everything was going well until one fateful day when he stumbled upon Ella's presence there. Owen's initial response was one of sheer dismay. Although Ella couldn't possibly see him, his webcam disabled, he nonetheless had a clear view of everything. He found himself gazing unblinkingly and without restraint at the contours of his stepmother's figure before he hastily slammed the browser shut. His heart was hammering wildly. The quandary then became how to break this to his father. Surely Jack would demand evidence, which Owen lacked. It hadn't dawned on him to capture a screenshot. The hours that followed were consumed with anxious deliberation over how to share Ella's actions with his father. Resolute, Owen planned to locate her online again and capture video proof for his father of what his beloved was up to. While he detested the idea of causing his father pain, leaving things unresolved was not an option either. That night, sleep eluded him as he tossed fitfully, consumed by a haunting suspicion that perhaps Jack already knew. The following day, he resolved to nonchalantly probe his father's views on such habits. At breakfast, with Ella still nestled in bed, Owen cautiously broached the troubling subject. Jack's immediate look of distaste was revealing. He likened it to observing the same dishonorable character, albeit from a different perspective. Essentially, it's the same story, just viewed sideways, he remarked. From his father's reaction, Owen surmised that Jack was likely unaware of his wife's activities. It thus fell upon Owen to unveil the full extent of the situation and present undeniable proof. The young man had difficulty remembering Ella's username on the site, and spent a lot of time trying to find her again. He took a few screenshots, barely glancing at his father's woman, and then recorded a video. He was relieved to see that Ella was in a decently lit room. It became quite clear that it really was her. Owen decided that handing his father the evidence would be a good move, but it would be even more satisfying to witness a confrontation with his stepmother, watching her try to justify herself to his father. His dislike of Ella was even stronger than when they first met. Jack was planning a family dinner. He enjoyed cooking delicious dishes, experimenting with new recipes, and serving them to his family. Such dinners took place once or twice a month, depending on his mood, and he began to perceive them as a cherished tradition. That morning he was in high spirits, whistling a cheerful tune as he prepared breakfast for his loved ones. "Someone is very cheerful today," his better half grinned playfully, winking in his direction. Jack responded with a mischievous wink and said, "Indeed, it's my turn to be on duty in the kitchen today. Tardiness is unacceptable." He thundered in such a way that even Owen, who was absorbed in his studies, heard the statement. While his son felt remorse for ruining his father's mood, he simply had no other choice. The deceiver needed to reveal the truth. Jack was looking forward to the evening when culinary delights would be prepared, the household would gather in full force, and an abundant feast would begin. As the evening drew to a close, Owen suddenly jumped up from his seat at the table, seized with impatience to present something exciting. "Look at what I cooked on the video. This dish was intended for our classes, and I devoted 2 whole days to cooking it," he admitted, returning to the kitchen with a laptop in his hands. Clicking the mouse several times, he turned the screen to face his father and stepmother, eagerly awaiting their reaction. Ella inmediatamente dedujo la situación a mano y tuvo una fuerte urgencia de apoderarse del computador de su yerno. However, Jack erupted at her, and she reluctantly retreated to her seat. The intensity of her gaze conveyed vehement animosity. Owen savored this moment of triumph. Turning to his wife, Jack jeered, "Wait, is that you in the video?" Her response was silence, prompting Jack to inquire what exactly was going on. Owen recounted the events exactly as they had occurred. Initially, discussing how he had discovered Ella made him uneasy, but the initial bashfulness dissipated, replaced by justified anger. In a venomous whisper, the woman seethed, "You despicable person! You initiated your immoral actions by spying on me, only to betray me to your father now." Then a thunderous slap echoed through the room as Jack struck Ella. Tears instantaneously gushed from her eyes as she clutched her reddened cheek. The man dropped his head into his hands, letting out a heavy sigh. Owen suspected his father was on the verge of tears. Offering a comforting hand on his father's shoulder, he tried to convey his support. They both needed it. His father straightened up, locking eyes with Ella, who still clutched her cheek. "What were you thinking? What were you lacking?" Jack asked, bewildered. He genuinely couldn't fathom why his wife would stoop to such disgraceful behavior. He had showered her with love, attention, financial stability, and catered to her every whim. Yet clearly it wasn't enough. Out of nowhere, Ella sprang from her seat, launching into a tirade filled with expletives. Her rant seemed endless, a torrent of words spilling out one after another. Owen grew weary of listening, while Jack stared at her, pondering what misdeeds in a past life had cursed him with such misfortune in this one. Resentment built within him, a bitter lump rising in his throat. "I've made a fortune from this. You'll never make so much. Do you have any idea how much they paid me for private sessions?" she blurted out abruptly, falling silent as she realized the weight of her words. But it was too late. Jack had grasped it all. Owen felt a surge of relief seeing his father muster the strength to expel the deceiver and embark on a new beginning. The man vowed to steer clear of shady characters and to live solely for his own happiness. His son stood by him, offering unwavering support. Together they remained in their spacious apartment, which they affectionately referred to as their bachelor pad. One fateful day, Jack received sad news from a companion that his wife had become addicted to illegal substances. The situation worsened as these dangerous substances took over her life more and more. The allure of wealth had corrupted her, pushing her onto the treacherous path of addiction. Jack couldn't help but feel deep sadness after witnessing the fall of a once radiant and cheerful woman. However, he admitted that her choices were the sole cause of this unfortunate condition, leaving no room for external interference. Cheating Secrets podcast like me